Yo, people might get mad at me for this take, but I genuinely think Keqing is better than Alhaitham. Okay, now hear me out. I'm not talking about that thing when Alhaitham was revealed and people saw his kit and they were like, oh, look, oh my god, Dendro Keqing. Wow, he does the same things Keqing does. No, I'm not even doing that. Alhaitham is Dendro child, and yet Keqing's better than him. And yeah, their kits look similar, but they're not the same character. So I'm gonna be trying to explain his kit, but the problems of his kit, they're basically like an amalgamation of issues that just really forms to screw Alhaitham over. And I know this is deliberate by Mihoyo, so yeah, thanks for making another mid character. Thank you, Mihoyo. So yeah, let's get started. So, seeing as Alhaitham is a hypercarry, he needs the hypercarry staple of not having resistance interruption. Well, thank you, Mihoyo. This is the 10 billionth character you've made that needs resistance interruption that you didn't give. So, being knocked down isn't really a problem. The problem mainly lies with the fact that when he's knocked down, he kind of loses damage from losing out on the duration he gets on his mirrors, because his mirrors last only like 4 seconds. So, now, you could probably say that, oh, just use his elemental skill. Well, if you use his elemental skill to like gap close and you use it like too early, like let's say you start off with his burst, you immediately go into level 3. If you get knocked down and you use his elemental skill like right after you just like bursted, like you just lost damage, which feels kind of bad when you realize his elemental skill is 18 seconds. Like, okay, 12 seconds. Okay, I understand. But like 18 ain't no way, bro. Like that's too much. Now, one of his other problems is range. He has none of it. So his projections have different levels, and even if you are at level 2 or level 3, they don't have enough of a wide range that you can consistently hit like a lot of enemies to do well, a lot of damage and apply a lot of dendro. So they kind of just feel bad whenever you're facing multiple enemies and you can't exactly hit all of them at once. And you don't really want to bring a Animo grouper, because who in the right mind brings Animo in Dendro, because you're not even gonna buff Alhaitham in the first place. So why? Now, how do you trigger the projections? Normal attacks. When you have a mirror, you gain a Dendro infusion so long as you have a mirror, and you need to hit enemies with that Dendro infused normal attack to trigger a projection. But his normal attacks also don't have much range in themselves, because they're literally the same thing. They have the same range as normal attacks that are not infused. So it could have been like, maybe a bit like Noelle, where you get a bit more range just so you can hit enemies more consistently, but no. Alhaitham is supposed to have a mechanic, and those are his mirrors. I did explain a little bit about them, but their duration is that they have like an 4-second uptime per level. So if you're at level 3, you'll spend 4 seconds at level 3, and then you'll drop down to level 2, which you'll have 4 seconds of that, and then 4 seconds of level 1. The problem is that the projection attack intervals are too long. They're like 1.6 seconds. Like that's only like 2 triggers per level. You're only gonna get 2 like projection triggers at level 3 if you're at level 3. One of his main benefits though are his flexible field times. Because his charge attack and elemental skill gives him mirrors, you can pretty much customize how long you want him to be on the field. So yeah. So when you swap Alhaitham out, his mirrors fade, if you have any, just fade out immediately. I'm kind of mixed on it because I can see the potential benefits and the definitive downsides to them. A downside is that when you switch out literally after using his burst skill or charge attack and they're on cooldown, you're punished with the incredibly long cooldowns. But it can be beneficial as like a starter. So you swap him out and you put him back in after refreshing your team's like, utility with like official EI, whatever. It's beneficial because as I mentioned before, you want to use your burst when you have no mirrors so that you have follow-up. And you want to use your elemental skill without any mirrors so that way you get 2. So swapping him out allows you to start a new rotation if you have your abilities available. An important thing to note about him though, he does require a good bit amount of ER. For my Alhaitham team with the Eye Official and Yao Yao, I need around 160% energy recharge. So now, the thing you've probably been waiting for. How does he compare to Keqing even though he's Dendro Child and not Dendro Keqing? So, a big benefit with Keqing is that her kit is very spammable with like no downsides. You get hard punished if you spam randomly with Alhaitham, but Keqing, if your abilities are available, bro, just spam. Just spam. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Her burst is 10 hits on a 12-second cooldown without needing, without needing mirrors or whatever, or her elemental skill. Alhaitham, on the other hand, requires, in order to get 10 hits, he requires his entire kit to be funneled into a level 3 burst, and again, as I mentioned before, he literally goes offline because he has no follow-up. Keqing has a 40 cost burst, while Alhaitham's cost is around 70, so yeah, that kind of hurts when you have like literally no follow-up. With Keqing's elemental skill, it's 2 hits with an Electro Infusion. A great benefit is that it's very low cooldown. It's like 7.5 seconds, which makes it really, really spammable. Not to mention, because you're not punished for using it, you can use it as essentially a gap closer, as I mentioned before. You know, there's not really any downside, you just spam it. And her infusion with her elemental skill, assuming you have the passive talents, but you're obviously going to have the passive talent, it lasts 5 seconds, and a nice thing with it is that it doesn't fade out when you swap Keqing out, so it's really nice when you're trying to just swap out to like refresh official, so you just take like a half second, and then yeah, you still have a bit of your infusion to have a bit more electro application. So overall, Alhaitham's not bad, but he has so many issues that you're not rewarded enough even when you understand how to play him. He doesn't have utility and mechanics, which makes him basically the next mediocre hypercarry MiHoYo churns out. You do get the benefit of flexible field times like Tartaglia, but what makes Tartaglia go off the wall is that he has Riptide, and that has insane AoE capabilities of damage and application. Alhaitham is just Tartaglia without Riptide, and you can see how much it hurts his performance. Would I recommend him if you're like a meta player? Not really. Even if you want him for overworld or whatever, he's not really that great because it's painful to play him when you're trying to manage his mirror up times and cooldowns, because like Child, if you stay on Child like for like 3 seconds with his elemental skill, you get a shorter cooldown. But if you want to stay on him longer, you get a longer cooldown. But Alhaitham, it doesn't matter if you pick a short or long field time, you're still gonna get the same amount. Now it's a benefit if you're going long on field durations, but if you're doing short, like maybe 4-second durations, you get omega hard punished. But even if you want to play him as like an entirely new character and maybe his mirror mechanics is fun, not really. His mirrors are just tedious to like manage rather than rewarding. Again, I mentioned you don't get anything other than damage, but even then, his mirror projections are too long of an interval between each other to where you're not really getting a lot of damage in general. Like from my testing, maybe you see the Keqing and Alhaitham kind of comparison on the on the video you're seeing. Like I'm trying to play out of my mind with Alhaitham, and yes, he is like clearing faster than Keqing, but the thing is that Yai is in the freaking team with Alhaitham. Like Yai is hard carrying while Keqing is sitting there with Dendro Traveler. Like I'm doing a disservice to Keqing. Like I could put Nahida, but yeah, my Nahida is C2, so no, absolutely not. Yeah. If you like Alhaitham, he's not unplayable. Like I don't like playing him, but like he's okay. So yeah, that's it. Thanks, and see y'all next time.